Relatables, I got some stuff I want to talk about with you. Y'all come on in. We got to talk about it. It's your girl, Relatable Key. Thank y'all for coming on this self-care journey with me. And first, let me say, this is week 3. Your girl is staying consistent. I've been showing up every Sunday. Have you? If not, I need you to like, subscribe, follow, and cut the notifications on so you can actually know when I'm posting. I try to post every Sunday between like 11 and 2. But I want you guys to be on the lookout because we literally be dropping gems here. Now, I will say, y'all, today's video is a little bit different because I have nothing planned. God told me this video to go with the flow. So I'm really just speaking from my heart, and we're going to actually have some girl talk. I just want to tell you guys what I've been going through lately, how life's been for me lately, and actually drop some gems on things I've learned along the way. Okay, so before I get too deep into the story, it's really important for me to give you the origin of my background because we're going to talk about work, my job. Basically, I am in property management. I've been in property management since I was 21, so a little bit over 14 years. When I came into the business, I started out as an assistant manager on a property. I've never been a leasing consultant. I came in the field as assistant manager right off the bat, thanks to God. And I worked my way up. I was at a company for almost 11 years. I felt like in those 11 years, I was not valued. I was not appreciated, but I stayed because of the fear of the unknown, the fear of when I leave here, somewhere where I'm comfortable, somewhere where I know what I'm doing, what's going to happen. Just that fear of not knowing what's out there, what's on the other side of this kept me there for 11 years. And of course, I would start off as an assistant manager. I was an assistant manager for 6 years there because I kept telling myself I don't want to be a property manager. Yeah, I was lying to myself. I really did want to be a property manager deep down, but I told myself that honestly because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like when you're a property manager, you're in control of that property, you run it, everything falls on your back, and the thought of that was scary. So I allowed myself to play small and stay in an assistant manager position, but I ended up getting assigned a property manager to the property I was already at for 6 years that really put things in perspective for me. She was an amazing manager and she taught me so many gems, and she also spoke life into me, and I realized I really do want to be a property manager. And I didn't even work alongside of her a year when I got the confidence to say, I want to be a property manager. I want to be promoted. And I was promoted. And now here I am. I have my own property. I was so excited about that. And I stayed a property manager with that same company for 4 years. But I did, like I said, I wasn't respected. I wasn't appreciated, but my fear wouldn't let me leave until they fired me. And that's my first time admitting that out loud, that after giving that company almost 11 years, they promoted me. And then 2 months after promoting me to a new property, they fired me. But little did I know that was my blessing in disguise. I know now, almost 3 years later, that was God pushing me out the door because he knew if I didn't do it, well, I wasn't going to do it. Apparently, I was too scared, too fearful of what's out there. So God had to push me. He had to push me out the door by getting me fired. Unexpected. Who gets promoted and let go within 2 months? It really didn't make sense. But at that time, I was devastated. Even though I hated that job, I did not want to be there. I wanted to leave. I was just scared to. So God gave me that little push, and I was off for 6 months. But in that 6 months, I learned so much with myself. I learned what I'm going to accept, what I'm not going to accept. I knew wherever I went, I'm going to be appreciated. I'm going to be valued. And what I went through 11 years there, another job would never have the opportunity to do that to me again. And 3 years later, I can say I stood on business when it came to that. and I'm proud of myself. For jobs, it just wasn't happening. I was stressing out. My husband was taking care of the bills, but of course, when you do everything hand in hand, it's a lot tougher on one person. But I do appreciate him because he did make it work and he did hold us down. And then eventually I got a job offer from my current employer. And I was so excited because it was actually taking me off of site from being a property manager, putting me in corporate office. So of course, like when you get any other new job, you're so excited. I walked in there, I'm like, oh my God, I've made it to the corporate level. I've never been in corporate America before. So this is my first experience with corporate America. And of course, I came in so optimistic, so ready to grow, so ready to learn. And then I realized that it was nothing like I anticipated it to be. One thing I can say about the job that I appreciated from the beginning was they allowed me the opportunity to pick my kids up from school every day, because that was a struggle, and they let me work those last 2 hours from home. So that was kind of like a grip on me, to make me stay at this current job a little bit longer because of the convenience of that. Although there I felt micromanaged, I felt like I didn't have the opportunity to be myself. One thing about me is, I don't know why, but I ruffle feathers. And I think it's because I'm my authentic self, no matter where I'm at. I don't kiss butt, do all the extra nonsense, but I'm great at my job. I come in, I do what I'm paid to do. I'm nice to people. I speak to people, but I'm not hard up to be. I don't gossip. I'm not going to sit in a group with you and gossip. I'm not going to overly go out of my way to try to be your friend where we got to hang out outside of work. None of that. I have my core people that I love. When I come here, this is a job, and I do my job well. And I also demand my respect, because I learned again from my previous employer that I wasn't gaining respect, and wherever I go, they're going to have to respect me and value. And I think because I stood on business about me, it ruffled a few feathers, to the point where I was getting micromanaged, always trying to find errors in my work, things like that. But of course, I'm good at my job, so it was no errors to find. But it was a lot of, I guess, corporate pettiness that I wasn't used to, that I had to get familiar with. I went from working on site where I got my maintenance, my grounds, and one assistant, to being in a corporate setting with a whole bunch of women. And honestly, I wasn't familiar with that. But like I said, I can get along with anybody. I can work alongside anybody. I just demand my respect, and I never ask from anyone what I don't give to them. I'm going to give you the respect just like I demanded, which I feel like wasn't received well by a lot of people, and that's okay. I'm long past those days where I change myself or I put myself in a box to appease others. Those days are behind me. I am who I am authentically, and I'm a good person. If you don't value it, if you don't appreciate it, then you don't have to be in my space. But I ended up stumbling across this video about a year ago, y'all, and it really put things in perspective for me. And it was a video on TikTok, and the woman was basically saying every 2 to 3 years, you should be reevaluating your job. You should be evaluating, do you love your job? Do you like the people that you're working around? When you walk into this place, do you feel good, or do it feels like a burden? Are you being stressed out? How is the pay? Are they compensating you correctly? You're supposed to be evaluating that job every 2 to 3 years. And if you're in a space where you don't feel valued or appreciated, then it's time for you to actually start seeking other employment and seeing what else is out there. I wish if I saw something like this years ago, I wouldn't have been at my last company for 11 years. And I wouldn't have needed God to give me that push I needed to get me out of that stuck position. So I just know that doesn't exist anymore, and I'm not that way no more. So here I am. Actually, this month makes 2 years at this current employer. And I realized in February, they let me know they can no longer compensate my schedule as far as allowing me to work the last 2 hours from home after I get my children from school. And I realized, honestly, that was the only thing that was keeping me there. I was unhappy there. I didn't feel appreciated there. But because of the convenience of being able to get my children from school, I almost allowed myself to be stuck. So when they told me that in February, I had a conversation with God. And my conversation with God went a little bit like this. I said, God, I don't like my current position, my current job. I think it's time for me to seek employment elsewhere and go somewhere where I feel appreciated and valued. I told myself that I will never allow myself to be stuck in a position like this again, especially where I'm losing 10 to 11 years of my life. It's time for me to see what's out there for me. I said, as I start this process, I put it completely in your hands. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to worry about it because at the end of the day, I do have a job. I want to take my time. Realistically, in my mind, I was like, I want to be working somewhere new by the end of the second quarter, which will be June next month. So I would like to have a new job by June. I said, you know the matters of my heart. You know what I need. You know what's going to be good for me. So I'm going to trust you and I'm going to trust the process. If through this I don't get jobs or it take a little bit longer, then I know it's your protection. Protection from what? I don't know, but I know it'll be your protection. So I'm going in with no expectations. So let's start this journey. So starting in February, I did just that. I started applying. I really feel like everywhere you're at in life, you're there for a reason. It's something to help you grow. It's something to help you learn. It's something that you want to take from that. And I think at my current job, it gave me more confidence to move up to an even higher position. It made me stronger in my communication skills, taught me how to work as a team, work with a large body of people. It just really built my confidence up even more working at my current job. I can say that. But the most important I learned from this job is my management style, the type of manager I don't want to be. Just listening to grievances from my coworkers, listening to the management styles of the supervisors and the managers and the directors, I learned the type of manager I do not want to be. I learned seeing these different management styles, how it affected the employees and the way they work and the way they showed up. And I knew that, okay, I need to be a particular type of way wherever I move to, because I knew wherever I moved to was going to be leadership. So I wanted to make sure I'm the leader that I needed. So as I started applying, of course, I'm applying for more high stake jobs. So the interviews are a little bit tougher than I was used to. I'm meeting with EPs, executives, directors, all types of things like that. And I'm not going to lie, y'all, I was getting really discouraged. I'm going on Chat GPT and on the internet, I'm studying for my interviews. Like I want to use big words. I want to sound like I know what I'm talking about. And I went on 3 interviews and I didn't hear back from all 3. But the thing is, I was never sad about it because again, I told God I would trust the process. So I was like, it's a reason why these people didn't call me back. Lo and behold, my car broke down, like seriously broke down to the point where they were thinking about totaling it out. I ultimately decided like, don't total it out. I just pay out of pocket and fix my car. I drained my savings. I fixed my car. And that made me think. I was like, maybe I didn't get those positions because it was God's protection. He knew I was about to have issues with my car, and he knew this wasn't the appropriate time to be switching employment. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, guys. You have to trust the process. So I got my car fixed like mid-April, and around y'all like April 20 something, like the end of April, I went to work. And as I was walking to my cubicle, I heard God vividly say to me, go pack your desk. But it was so strong and so clear, y'all. I just obliged. A part of me was like, why? Because I hadn't put in any applications recently and I haven't heard back from the other 3 jobs. So I really didn't understand why he was telling me to pack my desk. But I just said, I'm going to listen to their voice. It was just too strong. And I went and packed my desk. And it was just on my mind all day that I was like, I need to repeat this to people just so I can have proof that I'm not crazy. So I went and told 2 of my coworkers. I was like, I came to work today, y'all, and God just told me to pack my desk. I don't know why, but I did it. And I went home that night and I told my husband the same thing. I was like, God just told me to pack my desk today. I don't know why I haven't been applying for any jobs, but I just did it. That was on a like maybe like a Monday of that week. So then they gave me back the energy of let me start applying for jobs again. So like I said, this was like the last week of April. I started applying for jobs again. I applied for this job and like 20 minutes later, they were like, can we set up an interview, phone interview? I was like, cool. I set it up for the next day. I didn't study for it. I didn't practice for it. I didn't do none of that because I kind of got exhausted with doing that. I said, you know what? I'm going to go in and just be myself. And if the job is for me, I'm going to get it. I'm not going to stress it. So I didn't study. I didn't think to use big words. I didn't think to try to woo anybody. I went in there with the mindset of they need me. I don't need them. I'm interviewing them. Do they deserve to have me there? That's the mindset I went in. And I went in that interview, y'all, and it went so good. You would think me and this lady was best friends. We were talking about how creative we are. I was just telling her it's like anything I put my mind to, I can just do it. And she was like, girl, I'm the same way. And she told me how she bought this instrument and she wanted to teach herself how to play it, but she ended up just hanging it on her wall and never doing it. And, you know, I threw a joke in there and I was like, we're not doing that. You bought that instrument for a reason. I said, so next time I talk to you, I might have heard you done went to YouTube University or you done went to a class or something and you done start learning how to play that instrument. And she started laughing. I started laughing, you know, talking like I already had the job and we would talk again. And it was just a great interview. So she told me afterwards, I would like to set up an interview with the regional and the director. And I was like, awesome. So I set that interview up for like the following Monday. So the following Monday came, the same thing. I didn't practice over the weekend. I didn't do anything. I just told myself, if the job is for me, it's for me. It will come to me with clarity, no confusion, no chaos. Because if God is giving it to you, it's going to be effortlessly. It's yours. So I didn't practice or anything. I went in with the same mindset that I'm going to just go in and be me. And if it's for me, it'll work out. So then it was Monday and it was time for the interview. So y'all, it was Monday and it was time for the interview. I get online. It was the director and the RPM and I have my interview and it went great. It went exactly how the interview went with the first interviewer. The vibes was there, the communications was there. It just felt good the whole time. It felt right the whole time. Long story short, in at that interview, I bullcrap you guys not because I did the interview at work. I left out of that room that I interviewed in. As I'm walking back to my desk, before I even sit in my seat, I got a text message from the RPM and she said, we enjoyed the interview with you and we would like to offer you the position. Be on the lookout in your email. We should be sending you over an offer letter soon. And y'all, so excited, so excited. So that's where we're at now. I got the job, excited about that, the growth from my family. And I'm excited to start this new position on the 26th of the month. And I feel like I just wanted to have this story time with you guys and share this with you guys because I know it's so many people feeling stuck right now. Feeling stuck at their job, feeling stuck in their position, not because they can't move on, but because they're scared to move on. And I was her. 11 years I wasted at a company where I knew I wasn't making the most money I could make, when I knew I wasn't appreciated and valued, but I stayed because of fear of the unknown. I just want to remind you that fear is a normal feeling. Everybody feels fear, but you can't allow fear to stop you, hindering you from progressing in life. You have to work through that fear. You have to do it anyway. I'm not saying that the fear won't be there, but I'm saying you have to be strong enough to do it anyway, because there's no gain without risk. You have to be willing to take a risk on yourself. You have to be willing to bet on yourself. And this time I knew and I learned from that first go around, when I wasn't respected and wasn't appreciated, that I would never let another job do that to me again. And hey, let me say this too. I've never left a job for another one that made less money. Anytime I do move on with my life or go to another job, it's always for better benefits and it's always for better pay. That little 3% raises that they be doing once a year is not right, because they'll turn around and hire somebody new straight out the bat and they're making more money than you. Don't allow yourself to be stuck. You are enough. You deserve better pay. You deserve to be spoken with respect. You deserve to be appreciated. You deserve to be compensated. And if that job is not doing that for you, you deserve to say, I'm worth better than this. Get up and walk away. Do the work. Value yourself. That's the most important take I took from this. Value yourself. And because I know my value, I knew it was time for me to walk away from this job. So my last day was 1 day ago. I've been off for 2 days now. I start my new position on the 26th, so I allowed myself to have 1 week off just to relax, reset. Your girl ordered her a whole bunch of new clothes so I can step in as a boss. And you know how I told you guys, it's just so crazy how God works. I'm gonna say this, it's so crazy how God works. Because I remember when I was back at that company I was at for 11 years, my dream was to always have a big, nice A-list property. You know, the property that's just beautiful. They got the pool, they got the dog park, they got all the nice things. I always wanted that. But to be honest with you, no, I don't know if it's everywhere like that, but normally those big, beautiful, nice places, they don't give it to us. They don't give it to people of my complexion. So I always thought that was a pipe dream, and I'll never get there. That's just the self-doubt that I used to talk back in the day. But y'all, I got that. With this new position, I'm going back on site as a property manager, but it's in a beautiful area of town. It's a large, beautiful property, big office, nice pool. It got a dog park. It got a gym. It's everything I used to say that I wanted. And that goes back to God timing. He might not come when you want him, but he's right on time. And I feel like he gave me the desires of my heart. Yeah, it might be 5, 6 years later than when I asked for it, but he gave it to me when I was ready for it. That's the thing. And I know that with clarity and sincerity here. I know at my last company from 11 years, I learned from that property manager who built me that company. I loved her management style. I loved how she poured into me. I learned something from her. I learned my self-worth from her. I also learned from that job that I wanted to be appreciated. I took that with this new job. And with this new job, I learned leadership skills. I learned how to own a meeting. I learned how to publicly speak. I learned how to deal with a team and build up that team morale. I learned that here working with so many people. And now with this community that I'm moving to, it's a large community. So I have a staff of 9 that I have to manage. I've never managed a staff this big. But I feel so confident in it because the tools that I'm taking from the job that I'm just now coming from, it taught me those things. So I'm coming in with so much confidence. Like, I'm so ready and I'm so excited, and I just learned so much over this process, and I wanted to share this information with you guys because it's very beneficial in where you want to go next. So relatables, I just want you guys to remember you are worth it. You are worth the respect. You're worth the dignity. You're worth it. And if you're at a place, at a position, at a job that does not see it, that does not value it, I can guarantee you that it's a job out here with better hours, better pay, that will respect you, that will give you loyalty. It's out here. And if you happen to take that leap and you find out, like I did, that this job is not respecting me either, then guess what? You move along. I would suggest every 2 to 3 years, you need to be reevaluating your job and figuring out your next move. If you love where you at, by all means, stay. If they're not paying you enough, but you love where you at, you have the right to advocate for yourself and ask for more pay. If they don't value it, they don't appreciate it, or if it's just a toxic environment, it's so many more jobs out here every 2 to 3 years. If you guys haven't done so, let me make sure I plug this in. Make sure you like, make sure you comment. You might have some stories that you want to share with me or some questions you may have, or you might be feeling like you stuck in a cycle as well right now too. Let's talk about it in the comments. But I'm just excited, y'all, and I wanted to share with you guys my good news. I know by the time we speak again, it will be the day before me starting my new position. So we will touch bases. You guys know I'm going to keep you updated on how it's going. But I just wanted to have a little girl talk with you guys and let you know what the latest was. So if you have any questions for me, just remember, we are a community. We're all about self-care, self-love, growth. We can never stop working on ourselves. The job is never done. The work is never done when it comes to self-growth. So let's keep building, growing here. And until next time, it was so good speaking with you guys this week. Talk to y'all later.